10-minute yoga class for beginners. So we want to start by coming into an easy, comfortable seat, which crisscross style, or if you have any issues with your knees, your hips, legs out, just fine. What I want you to focus though, settling your sit bones into the mat, finding a gentle length in your spine, and then slightly engaging the core. So it's going to feel sort of like you're drawing your belly button to your spine, but also lifting up from the pelvic floor. Just a few moments to get acquainted with your breath. To inhale very deeply, you might feel your belly expand. I told you to just contract your core, but inhale, let it expand. And as you exhale, find that contraction. Pull belly button in, breathe out very deeply. We just want to make a very strong connection with our breath. Feel how it moves and supports our body. And just notice how when you're focused on your breath, you are in your moment and not in your thoughts. It's a really good way to be present. All right. Now that we've found our breath, let's take a little tip to hands and knees. This is called our tabletop position. So you want your wrists right underneath your shoulders, your hands spread out. You're kind of looking to connect to the thumb and index finger, but your other fingers are engaged into the mat. Elbows are a bit soft, hips over knees. We're going to take what we call our cats and cows, another opportunity to connect with your breath. So in the inhales, you lift up your chest, kind of shine your heart to the front. You lift up your tailbone, you notice there's an arc in your back. That's why they call it cow, if you've ever seen cows with their kind of swoop back. As you exhale, drawing belly button in, pushing the air out. I think about it as being really cleansing. Nice big arc in your spine. You might even feel some stretch in your shoulders. Inhale and lift. This is sort of the ultimate beginner's 10-minute because we're really going to focus on the mechanics and building a solid foundation. So inhaling, lifting, exhaling, arcing, and I'm going to challenge you. If you feel like you're not connecting breath to these poses, make that your focus. Now, of course, you want your poses to feel good in your body, safe in your body. But really think about inhaling and lifting, exhaling and arcing. Let's do 2 more sets. Really trying to find the pace. Don't worry about what I'm doing. Let your breath guide your body. And come back to neutral. So you're going to take your right foot back, and you want to come onto the ball of your foot. You're going to press through your heel. I want you to, notice how that feels in your calf. Keep your elbows a bit soft. You'll notice your shoulders actually come behind your wrists. They're not completely stacked, and that's something to explore too. We love stacked joints for safety, but as we get further into this, we'll talk about our wrists. So nice stretch. And now use a little bit of core strength to lift your heel in line with your seat. This is a really awesome foundational pose because we are again pulling our belly button in, taking out any arcing in our back, and we're finding out just how important our core is to our practice. Not how your core looks, but about how strong it is. Go ahead, set your knee down. How's your elbow doing? Do you need to take a few rolls of your right wrist? Shake out the arm for the elbow. All right. Grounded hands, spread out, thumb and index. And your index fingers should kind of be making a number 11. Left foot comes back. You are on the ball of your foot. Sort of pressing through the heel, waking up your calf. Keeping elbows soft. No hyperextending. Fingertips engaged into the mat. Then we float our foot, align our heel with our seat, and look for engagement of the core. So you want to still be able to breathe even though you're flexing, and I know that's asking a lot. That's why we were really working on building a strong foundation in this class. Sort of seeing just how important that strong core is to holding poses but maintaining breath. This is my buddy Oscar, by the way. So go ahead, set your left knee down. Now here's what we're going to do. We're going to come up to our first downward facing dog. We curl both toes under. We lift our seat. We want to think about an upside down V. It's kind of a tough pose for anyone, but especially if you're new to it. It requires some arm strength. We opened up our calves for a reason. You might notice as you kind of pedal one heel to the mat, bending through the opposite knee, that this is a pretty big calf stretch. You might also notice how important it is to connect to the thumb and index, the sort of L of your hand, with the middle ring and pinky fingertips being secondary placement. Strong, connected hands is going to keep your wrists feeling really good. Let your head hang out. I know it's a doozy of a pose. So let's walk our feet to our hands and come into a forward fold. I always like to add an inhale lift, and we're going to talk about this, but where you look to lengthen out your spine, and I do this to put a lot of space in my vertebra, so that way when I hinge back down and hang out in my forward fold, it's truly with the idea of bringing length into my spine. Your feet are about hip distance apart. We want a steady foundation. You can have a ton of bend in your knees. You could have a little bend. But I love the more bend in your knees, the more focused on the lower back. And the lower back tends to be a common pain point for a lot of us. Your arms could hang heavy, though often we offer people to grab opposite elbows. It's really what feels good for you. And then we shake out our head a few times. You really don't want to be holding in the neck. This is truly a pose that offers the spine and the head a break from gravity. Our spines hold us up all day long. This gives them a nice little inversion. So drop your hands, roll up so slow to stand. You might think about each vertebra clicking into place at a time. Standing up tall, feet are still hip distance apart. We're creating a steady foundation. Might look like I'm just standing, but we call it Tadasana or mountain pose. And you just think about, again, lifting up from the pelvic floor, strong, engaged core, shoulder blades drawing back slightly so you have a beautiful open chest. We're going to take sort of little mini sun salutations. Don't worry if you're not familiar with that term. This is going to be, again, to connect breath to movement. So inhale brings hands up overhead. Exhale hinges us down to toes. Inhale, come up halfway. This is that halfway lift that I said I was going to break down for you. It requires a good deal of back strength. Your back is part of your core. You want it to be strong. It's not just about the front and how it looks. It's about overall strength. Tailbone to top of head, one line. Exhale, hinge to forward fold. Inhale, bring your hands up overhead. A little reach at the top. Exhale, have a hinge down to your toes. Inhale, half lift. Think strong back, engaged core, good length. Shoulders away from ears. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep hands overhead. Exhale, toes. Inhale, half lift. These little, I'm calling them half sun salutations, are amazing. Exhale down to your toes. Inhale, come on up, because it's going to teach us how to connect breath to movement, get our blood flowing, kind of get us used to the foundation of a class. Exhale to toes. Inhale, half lift. Exhale to toes. Inhale, sweep your hands up. This time we're going to add a little something new. We're going to drop our elbows in line with our shoulders, draw our shoulder blades together. Keep your hips stacked over your heels. Open up your heart, lift up your chin, but try and keep the arc from mid-back. Don't just press your hips forward. Inhale your hands up. Exhale through heart center. So there's our 10-minute beginners class that teaches us the strong foundations, and it's something we can really build upon. But stand alone, it's going to be great for your body. Get the blood flowing.